Hello and welcome to the official day one of SOVVEENIE on the Spookier Celluloid channel, which will also sometimes be on the main channel and the podcast. I'm gonna be watching a lot of SOV films, and for day one, I wanted to get back to a classic that I've only seen like once. Many years ago, and it is of course video violence in this behemoth of an edition. I've had this for so long. It's probably one of my biggest pride in my collection. In fact, I pretty much have everything original in there except for one thing, which was oh wow, this messes up my color correction, my white balance, which is the t-shirt. I actually wore that t-shirt like to death. Basically, it was like my pajama shirt, and of course it didn't last long, but I do have the pins, the member card, the posters, of course the 2 tapes, and the DVD, which is my biggest issue with this behemoth of an edition, is that the DVD is the Redux Deluxe version of the film, that's how they call it, which is basically the 2 movies put together, re-edited by director Gary P. Cohen, and honestly, that's not my favorite way to watch video violence. Just because both movies are kind of tonally a bit different. The second one is much more goofy. It kind of reminds me a lot of like a Death Row game show. And the first one is not like a serious horror film in any way. It's just, tonally a bit more serious with some goofy comedy thrown in there. But I don't know, the cut between the 2 is a bit jarring, especially the way they do it. But yeah, so I'm gonna review the deluxe Redux cut today, and eventually I'll probably review the first one on my main channel. I feel like it's messed up enough, because it is a very like mean-spirited movie in a lot of ways, but the fact that it's shot on video and a bit iffy on the special effects kind of makes you forget at how messed up some parts of the movies are. Anyways, I won't be holding this behemoth of an edition. I just wanted to hold it long enough for me to get a thumbnail, even though I don't really use the thumbnails. I use the like generic YouTube thumbnails in this. So yes, what is video violence? Well, video violence 1, I'll get to the second one once I get to the end of my explanation on the second one, is a film. That's a good start. It's a horror movie from 1987, I'm pretty sure. Shot on video, of course, 1987. Wow, this came out in 2013, Lunch Meat VHS. That was probably one of their first projects. Lunch Meat VHS, which I think is now a sub-label of Vinegar Syndrome? No, that's VH Shitfest. One of the rare instances where I had to cut on this channel. So yeah, anyway, the story is simple. You have this couple from New York who move to New Jersey, and they open up a video store. Well, the guy does. She works at the courthouse, the local courthouse, I guess. Yeah, so they open up this video store. He hires another kid that's from out of town, and nobody in this town seems normal. They all come into the video store. They're kind of rude. Well, they don't really talk, and that's the issue, and they kind of don't like strangers. And the video store owner realizes that all they rent is horror movies, which leads to one of the first instance of dialogue scene that we get, where a villager, a townie, walks into the video store and asks for the Chainsaw movie, and then the clerk goes and gets pieces, which that's what I love. This film has a lot of background tapes, because it's a video store from the 80s, and honestly I like the variety, and I can imagine that like that would be pretty rare in a small town like a French town. I think this was filmed in New Jersey, but at the same time, I don't know, because my video store when I was growing up didn't really have any of the obscure stuff, but the video store in this film has like your typical stuff, like TCM, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, but they also got like Pieces, Blood Cult. They got the Wizard video box. You can see a few of them. I do own the like replicas. Yes, I was swindled by Charles Band, which would make a great T-shirt. I got swindled by Charles Band, but I won't make that because he'd probably sue me if I use this face. But yeah, you can see like I spit on your grave, and I forget what Buried Alive, which is Beyond the Darkness, Buyo Omega by Joe D'Amato, and Make Them Die Slowly, aka Cannibal Ferox. So, you know, just looking at the background, you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty dope. And yeah, so the townies are really into horror stuff, and they like to produce their own snuff films, which, you know, the day of the Pieces scene, the video store clerk realizes that somebody dropped off a blank tape, or a tape that was used to, you know, record TV. At least that's what the owner says. But then the clerk is like, let's put it on. And what the tape turns out to be is a snuff film of Eli and Howard, who become central characters as they are the psychopathic snuff producers who kill the strangers that are just driving by or passing by in the town, and they kill the mailman because he wanted to leave. He wanted to retire to Florida, so they kill him. And yeah, so that's basically the plot of the film. And then we get to see a lot of Howard and Eli, and that's where kind of the comedy comes from, because Howard and Eli are two bumbling idiots, but they are great, and honestly some great comedy in this. It's very tonally like different from the rest of the movie. Like the scene with the video store owner and his wife are actually pretty good tension. You know, they discuss the weird things that happen to town, and then we get Howard and Eli, who also do some pretty messed up things, but they're so over the top. And then, of course, one of my favorite character is the sheriff, who just doesn't take any shit. Of course, the video store owner goes to see the sheriff after they find the tape, and he's like, I don't believe you, young man. He really talks in this weird kind of accent, and he's like, well, come to the store, my clerk is guarding it. And then whenever they get to the store, it's just like a home video of some kids, and then the sheriff is of course very pissed. He's like, you're messing around, but the clerk is not there. Why is that? Well, the clerk got killed by Howard and Eli, and we get this Howard and Eli, I guess this is going to be a hot take, but I guess are like the equivalent of the Fred Vogel character in August Underground, except the difference is that this movie is actually entertaining and fun and good. But I'm gonna get so much hate on that one, but you know, it's a fun movie. You really get to see how like horror fans really live. And then you have the deli scene, which I love. A bunch of strangers come in, and again, there's a lot of like nods to horror and horror fandom, because the character is looking at the horror mags, and he's like, you got some pretty nice magazine. And then the guy at the deli is like, oh sure. And then they get killed, and they get their arm. The girl gets her arm chopped off, and then they use the arm in the deli slicer, which I don't think would happen because there's bones, and I don't think the deli slicer is that strong. Anyways, it's basically just you following Howard and Eli killing people, and then in between that you get the video store owner trying to get to the nitty gritty of what's happening in this bizarre town of psychopaths. And yeah, it's great. And then the video store owner and his wife get captured. They get tricked by a woman from the town who seems normal because she wants to watch Laurel and Hardy comedies. Anyways, and then they get sliced up, and then that's in this version where we go to Video Violence 2, which, as I said, is kind of like Death Row Game Show. You just have the Eli and the Howard show, which is a show on pirated cable network that they do, where they show clips of videos made by people around the town of them murdering people, including the return of the sheriff who creates an electric chair. And yeah, My only criticism of the second one, even though I do like it, it's not. I really don't like it as much as the first one, but it just there's just moments that are kind of long. It overstays its welcome. Like it's a fun joke for like a couple minutes, but then you're like, oh, it's been 30 minutes. And yeah, so yeah, Video Violence 2's never been my favorite, but I enjoy it. I think I like it more than Death Row Game Show, and I like it more than, yeah, other SOV films. But yeah, that's pretty much Video Violence, the deluxe Redux edition at least, not the main versions. Like I said, I'll probably cover just the first film on my channel. If I just didn't want to hook up my VHS tonight, my VCR tonight to watch some tapes, but the tapes are good. I'll just show you guys this edition just in case, because this came out in 2013, so hopefully I don't break anything. So yeah, you just got this amazing, well, I don't know how to display this. These two tapes that are red look really cool. Then you get your member card at the video studio, you get the DVD, and then you get a big poster. And yeah, pretty cool edition. Anyways, yeah, Video Violence, I'll give it a 7.5. I like it. It's not my favorite SOV film. There are some moments that can get a bit tedious, but overall it's super enjoyable. I really like it. I'm tempted to give it like an 8 out of 10, but I'll need to rewatch the full like first film and not the Redux Deluxe edition. But yeah, Video Violence, check it out. That was day 1. I don't know what I'm doing on day 2. Only time will tell. Peace out.